The first thing to check if the washer won't start is the wall outlet for 120 volts. Disconnect the washer from the wall outlet. Plug in a hairdryer to see if it works. If the hairdryer works, then you know the problem is not on the wall outlet. If the hairdryer doesn't work, check for a blown fuse or a tripped circuit breaker. If you have a problem bigger than that, you need a licensed electrician to take care of it. Make sure the washer is disconnected from the wall outlet. You will need to remove these screws to open the controls panel. You will need a Torx T20 screwdriver or a small flat screwdriver that fits. After opening the controls panel, you have access to the timer, water valve, temperature switch, etc. The front panel is held in place by two spring-loaded clips on the top and two hooks on the bottom. Use a spatula to release the top clips like this. Now that you know how to remove the front panel, go ahead and remove it. To install the front panel, set it on the bottom hooks, align it, and push on it until the clips snap on. With the front panel removed, remove the two top panel holding screws. Then remove the bleach dispenser hose if you have one. Lift and pull the top panel. Disconnect the door switch. Remove the top panel. To reinstall the top panel, set it on top of the washer and connect the door switch. Hook the top panel to the controls panel tabs and on the frame hooks. Connect the hose to the bleach dispenser and install the two holding screws. Remove the front panel. Remove the pump holding screws. Disconnect the fill hoses. Lower the drain hose and use a pan to catch any leftover water from the pump. Remove the drain hose so it won't break when you lay down the washer. Put a piece of rug or a blanket on the floor to protect the washer. Lay down the washer on its back. Remove the holding screws on the bottom panel. Bring the bottom panel forward and let it rest on the floor. Let me show you how to remove the front panel. Insert the spatula between the front panel and the top panel, about 4 inches from the edge. Hit it with the palm of your hand to drive it in. I removed the top panel to be able to show you how to release the clip that holds the front panel. The only way to remove the top panel is by removing the front panel first. I just did it this way so you could see how the clip works. Okay, now that you know how to remove the front panel, go ahead and remove it. When you remove the front panel, you gain access to the pump, motor, belt, hoses, etc. Here's a closer view of the front panel bottom hooks. To install the front panel, place the front panel bottom on the hooks. Align the panel and snap it in place. That's all it takes to remove and reinstall the front panel. Set the timer at the beginning of the cycle and pull the knob to turn the timer on. Open the controls panel and pull it forward. Disconnect the cord from the wire harness. Take a reading between the yellow-black wire on the water level switch and the red-black wire on the cord connector block on the wire harness. The reading should be 0 ohms. If the reading is infinity, the push-pull switch is bad and you will need to replace the complete timer assembly. Disconnect the washer from the wall outlet. This is how you remove the timer knob. Pull the timer knob to the on position. Use a pair of needle nose pliers to remove the holding clip and remove the knob. Now that you know how to remove the timer knob, let's remove it. This is the holding clip. Next, you will need to remove the timer dial. Remove the holding screws and open the controls panel. Press on these two tabs while removing the wire harness. Remove the ground wire, the holding screw, and remove the timer. Set the new timer in place. Connect the holding screw, the ground wire, and the wire harness. Close the controls panel and secure the holding screws. This key on the timer dial is supposed to fit this indentation on the timer shaft. Install the timer dial. Install the holding clip on the knob. Grab the knob and install it on the shaft. Push it in until it sets in place. Give it a couple turns. Make sure that it works okay. That's how you remove and replace the timer. If you can't turn the timer on or off, and you can't set it at the desired cycle, grab the knob and move the timer. If you can move the timer all around the place, this is an indication that the timer has a broken holding tab. Let me show you what you need to do to take care of this problem. Disconnect the washer from the wall outlet and open the control panel by removing these screws. Here is the problem: a broken timer holding tab. Get a piece of metal like this from the hardware store. Cut it to the right size and bend the two ends like this. Remove the screw and drill a new hole right here. Be careful you don't drill right through the control panel faceplate. Use the metal tab that you just made and screw it in. This will hold the timer in place better than the original plastic tab. Close the control panel and secure it with the holding screws. And here you have it. The timer is working like a charm. Wasn't that easy? If the timer push-pull switch works okay, and the timer is steady in place, but you can't turn the dial to the desired cycle because the knob won't engage the timer shaft, most likely you have a stripped timer knob. Make a hook like this one from a piece of coat hanger wire. I'm using this timer that is outside of a washer to show you how to remove the knob holding clip. Pull the timer knob out to the on position. Use the hook to grab the knob holding clip and pull it out. Keep an eye on the clip. It tends to fly out when you pull it out. Now that you know how to remove the knob, go ahead and remove it. Most likely yours is going to be like this one, worn out. Check out the timer shaft gears. If they're okay, then all you have to do is replace the knob. If the gears are worn out, replacing the knob is not going to solve the problem. You will need to replace a complete timer and a brand new timer knob. In this example, we're just replacing a bad timer knob. Take the knob and install the clip. To install the new knob, put it on the shaft, push it in until the knob snaps in place. Test the timer to see how it works. It should work fine now. That's all it is to replacing a bad timer knob. Make sure that you unplug the washer from the wall outlet before doing anything else. To check the cord, the first thing you need to do is remove these screws. For that, you will need a Torx T20 screwdriver. If you don't have one, you could use a small flat screwdriver that fits. After removing the screws, pull the controls panel forward and let it hang. Take a piece of coat hanger wire and make a hook like this. Make sure the wire is not painted. I'll say it again, make sure the washer is disconnected from the wall outlet. Disconnect the cord from the wire harness. Connect the wire jumper to this end of the cord. Take a reading with your ohms meter between these two terminals on the cord plug. The reading should be 0 ohms. If the reading is infinity, the cord is bad and you will need to replace it. This is what you need to do to replace a bad cord. Disconnect the wire harness, remove the ground wire screw, and pull the bad cord through the hole. Push the new cord through the hole, including the ground wire, and make sure that the cord holder is in place. Screw in the ground wire holding screw and connect the wire harness. Close the controls panel and screw in the holding screws.